Cycling a fish tank means letting the nitrogen cycle play out from start to finish. But what is the nitrogen cycle and how do you get it to start in your fish tank? Well, that's what I'm here to answer today, so stay tuned to find out. The nitrogen cycle starts with ammonia. Ammonia comes from fish poop, dead fish, dead plants, and fish food. Ammonia is also toxic to wet pets, meaning it can cause ammonia poisoning, ammonia burns, and even death. Over time, live beneficial bacteria colonizes on surfaces in your tank, like the substrate and your filter media. The more surface area in your filter media, the more beneficial bacteria can grow there. That's why a lot of filter media is really coarse and textured, like sponges or ceramic rings. This bacteria is beneficial because it converts ammonia into nitrite, which is not that beneficial because nitrite is also toxic to fish and other aquatic critters. But bacteria also converts the nitrite into nitrate eventually, and nitrate is only toxic in high amounts. It depends on your wet pet, but generally you don't want it to go past 20 to 40 parts per million of nitrate. Whereas with ammonia and nitrite, you want it to stay at 0. And this can all be tested with a liquid testing kit, which is more accurate than test strips, so that's why I recommend that. I use the API Master Freshwater Test Kit. Also, a little tidbit about beneficial bacteria: it will die if it dries out or if you rinse your filter media or substrate in chlorinated tap water. You also want to be careful when you're rinsing your filter media, because if you rinse out too much of your beneficial bacteria, it can cause your cycle to get all wonky. And if you want more details on how to clean your filter and your filter media, I have a video on that in my fish playlist. So now that you know what the nitrogen cycle is, you can make it happen in your tank. You'll need a source of ammonia to start the cycle, since ammonia is the first step in the cycle. And you can use bottled ammonia like Dr. Tim's, or you could just use fish food, which most people already have on hand when they're setting up a tank, which is perfect. Some people like to use fish to start the cycle because fish produce ammonia, but I don't recommend that for beginners. It can be very stressful for the fish if it is not done properly. You'll want to add your source of ammonia either every day or every other day, depending on how often your future pet will be eating, and that will simulate the ammonia that your fish will be producing. You can also use a bacterial starter. I've used Seachem Stability and Fluval Cycle in the past, and they worked pretty well for me. Or if you already have an existing tank, or if you have a friend who keeps fish and they like to lend you some old filter media that already has an established bacteria colony on it, that is the fastest way to get your bacteria to build up, is to just borrow it from somewhere else. But otherwise, it'll just start to build up on its own, or it'll build up even faster with your bacterial starter. You'll want to keep adding your source of ammonia until it converts into nitrite, and until the nitrite converts into nitrate. And once you have up to 40 parts per million of nitrate and 0 ammonia and 0 nitrite, your tank is cycled. Since nitrate is the last step of the cycle, the only way to get it out of the water once it gets into toxic levels is with live plants and water changes. And if you need to know how to do water change, I have a video on that in my fish playlist as well. You can choose to wait even longer than this point for your tank to become really established and stable. You can give some time for live plants to grow in, some detritus to build up, or even some little critters like scuds and daphnia to colonize. These types of things are what help a fish tank become a little ecosystem, and it's really interesting to watch. But that's a topic for another video, which I'd be happy to make in the future. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comments. I'm happy to help out. I know a lot of people recently got fish for Christmas and stuff like that. I've been getting a lot of questions about cycling, so I thought this was a good time to make this video. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a like and consider subscribing, and I will see you in the next one. Peace and love.